Yeah, that bus comes from.
Yeah, for tomorrow.
You can call the office 713 308 3280.
You just arrived. Wait, so you can English.
Hi guys, I gotta get out of the way.
Yeah, come on, get it. You all right? I'm good, I'm good. What? 308 3280.
¿Podría hablar unas palabras en español? ¿Qué es lo que siente en estos momentos sobre este movimiento?
Bueno, un gran orgullo que en esta ciudad hemos enseñado al país entero que cuando estamos juntos con la diversidad de esta ciudad, la ciudad con más diversidad, somos un ejemplo de lo que puede hacer o lo que puede pasar cuando todos nos unimos en la paz. Y ahora estamos aquí para apoyar a la familia de George Floyd, para que sepan que...
¿Ya se reunió con ellos, sí?
Oh, varias veces. Que la
cuéntame
pérdida,
cómo están en estos
ellos
momentos.
están adoloridos, claro, pero están con una gran felicidad sabiendo que la muerte de su hijo, de su papá, de su hermano, de su tío, de su amigo, de su primo, que va a traer cambio. Y el cambio es un cambio que nunca hemos visto y tenemos una gran esperanza.
Sí, usted ha luchado para que...
Why is it important for police and you to be here today?
Well, because we all saw, the world saw what happened to George Floyd, and we know that without a doubt that what happened was criminal. It was not consistent with the expectations of the modern 21st century police officers. And what's been amazing to me here in the city of Houston, I think that our city has been a city that has shown the world what this big melting pot of Houston, the most diverse city in the United States, that I think makes it the most diverse city in the country and the world. I mean, we saw what happened during Hurricane Harvey. You didn't see the 70% of police officers leave work and never come back. Despite 650 of our own homes being flooded, we stood with this community for 6 days, 24 hours without going home. We stood together, neighbor helping neighbor, stranger helping stranger. And once again, we've seen that even though George Floyd was taken really from the Floyd family here in the city of Houston, that we've all come together once again, Houston Strong, showing that when we work together and we work in a manner, in a spirit that is constructive and not destructive, that we can change the world. And I really believe that there's a great hope here in this city, and that hope is spreading nationwide. This is a watershed moment, and if any city can lead, with Mayor Turner here, with his, you all know that he's a man of faith, and this community can lead and set the way. This is the way forward, and we're going to see some meaningful change.
I have one last question. Can I ask you, how can you guarantee that not one of your officers is going to be involved in anything like that?
Let me tell you, there are no guarantees. The one guarantee that I know is that no matter what laws we pass, no matter what training we have, no matter what our policies, procedures, accountability, we're still dealing with the human condition. The problem with American policing in the 2020 is not the majority of men and women that wear this uniform. The problem with American policing is twofold. One, we have 18,000 police departments with 18,000 ways of doing business and 18,000 sets of policies, and it's time for our country to recognize in the Congress that when it comes to the critical policies in terms of use of force and things of that nature, that we have to have a national standards in terms of policy, law, and training requirements. And the second piece is that too many police chiefs across the country to this day, it ain't the cops. It's the community recognizes bad policing when they see it, and there's still too many instances where bad policing is tolerated. So we need to just say no. We don't have it perfect here in Houston. We know that we have problems here like everywhere else, but we're second to none, and that's because we're a homegrown department that's reflective of this community, a minority-majority department serving a minority-majority city, and I think that gives us a lot of emotional confidence.
Thank you, Chief.
All right, thank you all. Thanks for being here. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you. Hey, Cheryl.
Hey, Chief.
Hey, man. Didn't see your face because you have a mask on.
This is the plan. I pull the person, put the mic, I'm going to, on the knee, and you can do the shot and do that. Chicas, Toledo. Get down.
George. George.
Chicas, Toledo.
Es un día triste para Houston, ¿no?
La importancia de que hoy sea el día conmemorado por la cancelación de
Sí, mire, este día no podemos cambiar lo que ha pasado, pero sí podemos cambiar nuestra reacción. Como dice muchas personas, que son palabras, eso es una promesa.
Chief, ¿qué va a ser diferente para Houston? Para Houston ahora con las investigaciones.
Let me just tell you, mire, para empezar vamos a estar bien claros. Los tiroteos que hemos tenido, casi todos los sospechosos están armados. Así que no vamos a permitir que la prensa, porque la prensa tiene que hacer su parte. La prensa no le da todos los datos a la comunidad porque quieren hacer esto. Y yo no voy a permitir eso. Nosotros hemos tenido nuestros incidentes, pero casi en todos los casos los sospechosos no están armados. Así que aquí no vengan, porque el problema es que tenemos que hablar la verdad. Y la verdad tiene que ser en las dos partes.
What do you think about defunding the police? What do you think about
Okay,
defunding the police?
look, let me just say this. There's the abolitionist movement in our country that the abolitionist movement says we don't need police, we can get rid of them altogether. That is a non-starter. Without police, you have chaos. Let me just tell you about this community. If I try to close the storefront in my black and brown community and my poor community, and my poor neighborhoods, people don't want us to go away. What they want is not less police, they want good policing. They want the same respect in communities that are poor communities and communities of color as the communities that are in the rich communities. And so this notion that we need to get rid of the police is a non-starter. Secondly, let's just be real clear. Policing today, if we had these cell phones 34 years ago, 40 years ago, if you talk to the older members of society, where policing was then and where it is today, it's a much better place. Having said that, it's still not where it needs to be because we need to always seek to be better. It's not to me that's a false equivalence that in order to be able to deal with society's shortcomings in terms of education and mental health and drug treatment and all the other things and economic opportunity, you got to cut the police. No. COVID response that when it impacted the entire nation, north, south, east, west, rich, and poor, the Congress printed money and they addressed it. So this is not a matter of let's get rid of the police in the neighborhood that need us most so we can do B. This is a matter of let's have appropriately trained and appropriately supervised and appropriately managed police officers and having the social services we need and the investment we need in communities that have been left behind once and for all. So thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you. Mejor, ¿no? Para el shot. Sí, estaba bien. Lo que pasa es que si me ve abajo, baja la mirada. No sé cómo lo agarras. ¿Sí? ¿Aquí no tapó nadie? Is that you saying up at the mother shop? No. Here? Okay, let me see. You know what? Okay. Thank you.
Hassan? Hussein. Is that yours? Mr. the pen?
If they on that list, let's go down there. They should have somebody at their door check the list now. That's where we got it. Okay, I said I would come back. But maybe you don't want me now. Okay, I'm back.
A message for George Floyd.
Say again?
A message for George Floyd's family and his love.
Yes, to the family, I would have them know that they are not alone. That we will stand with them not only on this day, but in the days to come. That we will do things that will make a difference. We're going to pass legislation. We're going to make sure that we get persons in office who are sensitive to the needs of all people. We're going to make sure that police departments have proper vetting systems so that we can eliminate some persons who might be bad actors before they have an opportunity to act. There's much to be done, but we want the family to know that they are not alone.
How about the discounting the police discount? Do you agree with that?
What?
The discounting. Police discounting.
The question has to do with the defunding of the police department. Defunding does not mean that you are disbanding. In Houston, Texas, today, if you read the Houston Chronicle, you'll see a story where advocates, activists who want to have HISD end its contract with the Houston Police Department except for emergencies. The Houston Police Department does not have to police the campus of schools. That money then can be moved to education. So there's a desire to see the country do in policing what we do in Congress. In Congress, when we want to get someone to act a certain way, we threaten taking away their funds. That's what we do. And we get them to change their behavior by threatening to take away and taking away their funds. That's what people are saying. Use this as leverage to get the justice that we seek.
Congressman, I know a lot of the folks were, some of the classmates were saying that they hope this is not a momentary movement. How do you assure them that this is not momentary and this will continue?
The question is, how do we assure people that this is more than a moment, that it is a movement? Here's how we assure people: by passing legislation that's meaningful, by ending no-knock laws. That's what cost Breonna Taylor her life. By making sure that no officer in the future will put his knee on the neck of another person and terminate that person's life. We can't legislate morality, but we can legislate such that we impact behavior. And if we make it clear that persons who violate the law, regardless of the type of uniform you have on, whether you have on a robe or whether you have on a blue uniform with a badge, you're going to be prosecuted in this country. If we do this, this will then send a message that this is more than a moment in time. It's a movement to impact all of our time.
What do you say about Trump wanting to release the military on U.S. citizens?
The question has to do with the president wanting to release the military on all U.S. citizens. The president, unfortunately, does not respect the Constitution. Secretary of State Colin Powell has said it just recently. You're finding other persons who are now coming to understand that when the president told police officers, you don't have to be so nice when you're arresting people. That sent a message to police officers across this country that he had their back. And then he backed it up when he decided to give Joe Arpaia the benefit of a presidential pardon. This is the kind of thing that you do to send a message. So the president's messaging has been very bad for this country. And his latest message in terms of bringing in the military to have what he calls law and order, we who have been in this movement as long as I have, we understand that he means order and law. Order and law as opposed to law and order. Order and law means that you establish the order and I'll take care of you with the law. That's a bad message to send, because that's how we get the George Floyds of the world when you get this kind of messaging. It's time for a change to come. I believe we're at that moment in time when it will become a movement, and I believe we can make a difference.
I have a question. What do you say about instead of funds going into the organizations for the community, let the community get money and doing things in their own community to make sure the things in their community are being served?
Every community should have the opportunity to decide its destiny. The question had to do with money going to the community as opposed to some other places. Every community ought to have the opportunity to decide its destiny. This is what is being advocated today. If you read the article in the Houston Chronicle, there are advocates who are saying, cut the contract with the police and the Houston Independent School District. End that contract unless there's an emergency on a school campus. Police officers don't have to police schools. You cannot police poverty and end it. You cannot police homelessness and end it. The police need to have themselves assigned to other responsibilities. And the funding for that can then go to the community so that the community can change education, change homelessness, inequality, all of the things that the police have unfortunately had the unfortunate opportunity of doing can be undone in the sense that they won't have to do these things anymore. And that makes sense if you think about it. Hey, thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
The family is about to arrive. When they come, don't let anybody else move either. I'm big bodied, so let me stand on this side, man, so y'all can get
Lucia, excuse us.
Yeah, they are the private.
Yeah, me too. All kind of stuff.
Blue shirt, move.
Everybody on this side, there should be no media right here. Everybody back, please. All the way back on the other side of the truck. All the way back, please. Thank you. On that side.
right. Give it a shot.
kind of in the middle of something. Oh my God. It's like the most important thing that we can get. It's the arrival of the family and the priest and everything. Come on, move. All right, Stephen, they want you on the phone. Of course.
Gen C.
Yeah. Hi. Okay. All right. Yeah, I was talking to him to call you. I don't know. Yeah. Come on.
Can't see.
Excuse me, I need a lane. Excuse me.
Bodyguard. I'm sorry, there's people yelling around me. What's going on?
Everybody, please.
There's nobody on Nobody comes past this office.